Imagine you're driving through the Swiss Alps in 1963. The snow is melting. The espresso is strong, and suddenly a low white wedge glides past you like a spaceship in a hurry to report back to Jupiter. No grill, no handles, no roofline, just Erling sculpture with a name that means welcome to the bizarre, brilliant paradox that is the Chevrolet Corvette Testudo by Bertone. It wasn't just a car. It was the turtle that outran the hares of design history. Before we divento this turtle shell time machine, smash that subscribe button like you're slamming shutter gullwing canopy. More insane vehicles are waiting for you right here. So, let's rewind to the early 1960s when the world was still obsessed with tail fins and Italy wastering to convince America that their cars didn't need to look like rocket ships from a drive-in movie. Intercatazeria Bertone, a coach builder, older than your uncle's jokes. Founded in 1912 and still swinging after 2 world wars, a few recessions, and an era where plastic was more feared than AI is today. In 1963, Bertone dropped a bombshell in Geneva. Built entirely in-house on a shortened Chevrolet Corvair Monza chassis, donated by Geneva Motors, the Testudo wasn't just a concept car, it was a flex. A rolling announcement that said, "Hey, Detroit, look what we can do with your leftover engine parts." Boney's goal, set a the American market and flaunt its growing industrial power. The name Testudo, Latin for turtle, was no accident. It defined the form, a seamless shell divided by a razor-straight beltline, suggesting both agility and armor. Yalkno, like a tortoise that could outstyle a Ferrari. Only one was made. One, a single running hand-built prototype that took an estimated 15,000 hours of labor. Roughly the same amount of time it takes a politician to answer a yes or no question. It debuted on March 3, 1963, at the 33rd Geneva, where photographers reportedly sprinted toward it like it was handing out free cheese. And the man who drew this design, lightning bolt, none other than a baby-faced Giorgetto Giugiaro, barely in his 20s, sketching out the future from his perch at Bertone. Under the watchful eye of Neo Bertone, Giugiaro wasn't just drawing a car, he watched how the automotive world thought about curves, glass, and thievery silhouette of speed. His sketches broke the two-part thinking of profile versus top view. The Testudo was on a continuous thought in motion, one clean gesture from nose to tail. To build it, Baron didn't just cut the Corvair wheelbase to 2,400 millimeters, 94½ in. They reinforced the frame, but left the drivetrain untouched. The engine was Chevrolet's familiar air-cooled Turbo Air Flat 6, 2,372 cm, 145 cubic in of horizontally opposite philosophy, breathing through 2 single-chester downdraft carburetors and putting out around 81 brake horsepower, not exactly face-melting speed, but as Bertone himself might have said, one needs speed when you look this fabulous. The layout was classic Corvair, re-engined, rear-wheel drive, and surprisingly balanced thanks to engine weight over the back axle. The transmission, a 4-speed manual transcycle, the front end floated on wishbones, coil springs, telescope poke dampers, and an anti-roll bar, while the rear used the early Corvair swing axle layout with coil springs and telescope poke dampers. Brakes, drums, all around. Remember, it was 1963. AB still stood for ain't braking smoothly. But whereas Testudo truly mutated from car tort was the body. This wasn't just sheet metal. This was coach building kabuki theater. The roof, windscreen, and side glasses were fused into a single forwarding canopy like the cockpit of a fighter jet, designed by someone who drinks a lot of vermouth. Early version wore Corvair wheels and white wall tires. Cute, but those were quickly swapped for wire wheels that still stick with the car today, like a loyal pet foray. The rear lights were embedded in the bumper and made from polycarbonate, a big deal at the time because plastic weighs for toys, not tail lights. And the front end, so smooth it made a bar of soap jealous. No grill, no vents, just a calm pearlescent face staring into the future. Inside, things got weirder. The steering wheel looked like it had escaped from an airplane. Rectangular chrome, with black handles that made you wonder whether you were driving or defusing a Cold War missile. Instruments sat in inverted L-shaped clusters stacked vertically to leave the windshield view completely unobstructed. Visibility was almost 360, perfect for admiring all the drop-jaws as you cruised by. The seating reclined so low that chiropractors still sit in ethics debates, but note Giugiaro had drawn headrests, but they never made it into the final build. Why? Style over spines. Now, don't go thinking this was a trailer queen. The Testudo actually sorrowed use. Neo Bertone drove it to the Geneva show. Giorgetto Giugiaro drove it home. One night, he even picked up his new bride, Maria Terza, in it, causing such a commotion outside Fiat's design studios that dozens of employees misled their buses. And that, my friends, is what we call foreplay. Touring style. Unfortunately, all good things must meet a shell-spencered disaster. During a promotional shoot in the mid-1960s, the Testudo got rented at speed by another Bertone dream car, the Alfa Romeo. The impact was so severe, Neo Bertone nearly exploded from his tailored Italian suit. The Kangaroo was declared scrap. The Testudo survived, but was shelved. Repairs were too expensive. It wasn't until the 1990s that the Testudo was restored under Bertone's new design boss, Luce. It returned to the public eye in 1996 at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. Older, wiser, still yaw-dropping. Even today, collectors, designers, and dreamers look at it and mutter, why didn't they build more? Park the Test next to any 1963 production car, and it's like setting a UFO beside a soup can. While Detroit was style, dipping everything in chrome and fins, Giugiaro was slicing through the air with a razor belt line and sculptural minimalism. The Testudo's design wasn't just futuristic, it was post-future. It fused side and top views into a singly organic form. This wasn't styling. It was automotive origami with an attachment. That's why designers like Anatoline of Porsche fame openly acknowledged their love for the Testudo. You can see its DNA in the Miura's front end, the Alfa Montreal's lighting motifs, and even the Corvette C3's sugar scoop profile. The Testudo wasn't just a showpiece. It was a ripple in the design continuum, still felt decades later. In a single stroke, it took us from post-war excess to mid-century modern cool. If you ever wondered how we went from tail fins to wedges, this turtle started it. Now, as for the money, there was an original price tag. You couldn't just stroll into Bertone and say, I'll talk ETH turtle with a side of wire wheels. Glacier, after the crash, Bertone reportedly offered the damaged Testudo for $10,000 back in 1974. Adjusted for inflation, that's about $65,000 modding dollars. Imagine picking up one of the most influential cars of the 20th century for the price of a decent vacation home with a broken pool. But when the Testudo finally hit the auction block in 2011 at RM Serbi's Villa Esta sale, it sold for €336,000, around €476,000 at the time. And today, well, it's priceless in the truest sense. There's only one. No duplicates, no replicas, just chassis 29,272,272,757. Still gleaming, still staring down his story with that smooth, eyeless face. And finally, a huge grazie to Theligents, keeping this channel alive, our YouTube sponsors. Without you, we'd be forced to build concept cars from eye-cappards and duct tape. You make this midness possible, and we salute you, with a slow canopy-style salute and a pop-up wink. Until next time, may your tires be round, your neighbors tolerable, and our design choices less prone to rear-end collisions.